My husband had a girlfriend the entire time. So, buckle up, grab those Yetis, grab those Stanleys, whatever you're drinking out of, and get ready. Because it's a lot. So since this is a part one, I will just go ahead and put this disclaimer out there that real names will not be used. If you know, you know. Don't be in the comment section blowing things up. It is what it is. This has happened over a year ago now, and I'm finally on my healing journey in which I'm okay to tell my story. I'm okay to tell my testimony because that's what it is. At the end of the day, this is my testimony because this is something that God has brought me through. This is something that God was beside me every step of the way, and without him, I would not still be here. And I will give him all the glory, honor, and adoration that he deserves through all of this, because even though that I have not been the best Christian throughout this whole entire process, that he has never left me, nor has he forsaken me. This is also not for me to write any wrong of any version of any story that I've heard in the past year. And trust me, I have heard them all. I have been called all the names. I have been accused of horrendous things that I would never do. But this isn't for that, because at the end of the day, that's life. And the good Lord himself could present himself with the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And there would still be folks out there that twist and turn and add their own little details. And, you know, it is what it is. This is not that. This is strictly for me to say, hey, this is crazy. This is what I lived in. And by the grace of the good Lord above, I'm here to tell it. And it's part of my testimony. And even though it ain't pretty, hey, I'm here and I'm hella proud of that. So with all of that out of the way and the disclaimer disclaimed, let's jump into it. I'm going to take you right from the top. So me and my now ex-husband, his name is going to be Jackal for the entirety of this series. So me and Jackal met and started dating June 21st of 2016. It was like what me and him both described to each other as like a love at first sight. Like, we instantly connected, we instantly became best friends, and like we dated and everything was perfect, never fought. I was always laughing, having a good time. So then he proposes. We ended up getting married June 16th of 2018. So literally just days shy of our 2-year dating anniversary, we got married. And like I said, I was under the impression that I had a 1 in a million love story. Like, that's what I was living. I loved him with my whole entire being, with my whole entire heart, soul. There's nothing in this world that I wouldn't have done for Jackal at the time. I mean, from the outside looking in, and even behind the scenes with closed doors, when people weren't around, we, in my mind, had the picture perfect marriage. Like, instead of fighting and arguing and bickering all the time, like, we were laughing and cutting up. And, you know, even 5 years into the marriage, people were like, are y'all still in the honeymoon phase? Like, what's going on? Like, and I'm not saying that life didn't happen. I mean, we had 2 kids. So even when life did happen, we were able to sit down like adults and talk about things, and it not be a knockdown, drag out, or, you know, I never once felt like we weren't on the same team. So when I say that I was blindsided by every bit of the information that I'm about to give you, I was blindsided, and it hit me and took me out. Like, it was literally like a bomb had hit and just went off in my life, because I literally, up until the day before I found out everything, I literally would have bet every single red penny that I have ever had in my entire life on the simple fact that this man would never cheat on me, that he was faithful to the end of times, that he loved me and only me, that he would never step outside of our marriage, that he never not had my back. I truly 1025% thought that up until the day that I found out everything. And even when I did find it out, it was such a shock that even I was trying to make excuses in my mind as to how this, like, that wasn't really him. Like, there's no way that this could be him. There's no way that, you know, just in that, I guess, bargaining stage of grief, I guess, because I was having to grieve something in which I thought that existed that didn't. So this whole series is going to be deep, and it's going to be heavy, and it's a Jekyll and Hyde type of situation. So my ex-husband's name in this series is Jackal, and his mistress name is Heidi, because it's literally, he was coming home every single night, or Monday through Friday, coming home with a smile on his face and happy to see me and the kids, and, you know, being the best husband and father that I thought that he was, all while living a whole nother double life. And so this is going to get messy. It's going to get messier before it gets any better. I can just go ahead and say that. There are a lot of things that people are going to look at me and say, how didn't you know? Like, so you're that dumb? You're that trusting? 1000% I am. Because the day that I said my vows, I meant every single word of that. And I didn't take it lightly. And there was no need for me not to trust him ever in our marriage until the bomb was dropped. And then it was like, well, how many other people have done this to me? Because apparently I'm naive or too trusting, or, you know, whatever. How did I allow this to go this far? Like, I still ask myself those questions. So I'm going to get those. I get it. It is what it is. Y'all are going to have a lot of questions. I'll answer every single one that I can. But just know that from the moment that I met Jackal until the moment that I was signing divorce papers, I loved him entirely. A part of me will always love him just for the simple fact that he is the father of my children. But I'm also thankful for the good Lord above for revealing these horrible, devastating things to me. At the time, I could not thank him for that because I was mad. But it's going to be a roller coaster of a ride. So, like I said before, buckle up, grab those Yetis, Stanleys, Bromates, whatever it is for you of the day, and get ready because we're about to dig deep. One, I encourage you to do so you can get caught up. If you have, let's get to it. So for those of y'all that are caught up, I ended the last video kind of like with somewhat of a timeline, but I'll go back over that. Met June 2016, got married June 2018, and then we'll start from there. January of 2019, I found out that we were pregnant with our first child. It was a huge shock, surprise. We were not trying because I'd been told before that I would not be able to have children without infertility drugs and stuff like that. So it was a huge blessing, huge shock. We were on cloud nine, so excited. The whole entire pregnancy was awesome. Other than her having to come almost 4 weeks early because of my blood pressure. But other than that, it was wonderful. Our daughter that we ended up having in September of 2019 then turned 2. And 11 days later, we have our now son. So at this point, we have 2 kids. Right before I have our son, I was 8 months pregnant, and we were on our very last vacation that we would have with, just our daughter. It was me, Jackal, our 2 kids, and my parents. We were at the beach. The beach is my happy place. And we were soaking it all in. A few weeks prior to this, I started having dreams that Jackal was cheating on me. In my mind, I was like, you know what? Pregnancy hormones, I'm still thinking that there's no way in this world that Jackal would ever cheat on me. And so I kept having the same exact dream. Like, I would wake up crying, I would wake up panicked. And every time, like, I was communicating with Jackal about these dreams. And every time that I would tell him, like, look, I had this same dream, and he's like, babe, like, I would never in a million years cheat on you. I love you with my whole entire heart. And like, I would also confirm in him, like, okay, well, just so you know, if you ever did, like, that would be it. Like, I'm sorry, you stepping outside of our marriage will never be okay with me. And he would just reassure me, I would never do that. Never, ever in a million years. So when we're at the beach, I think we've got 1 day left before we come home. And like, I've still got, like, I just got this feeling, like this gut feeling that like something is wrong. Something is up, not with me and the baby, but, with me and Jackal in our marriage. And I keep having this same dream, and I prayed so hard to the good Lord, like, Lord, if this is Satan and if this is not true, I beg you to please take these dreams away. Like, please just let them stop right now. But if something is wrong and I do need to, be worried, then just allow them to keep happening. Like, let this be your way of using the Holy Spirit to tell me that something's up. And I've kept having these dreams. And so the day before our last day at the beach, my father needed Jackal's help doing something. So him and my dad and Jackal went and took all of our beach stuff down to the beach. So me, my mom, and my little girl could go down there and be on the beach while they were doing said thing that they needed to do. And Jackal had left his phone. Now, yes, during these times of me having these dreams and stuff, I would occasionally look through Jackal's phone, but it was like there was never anything on there. And so even in my own mind, I was telling myself, you're crazy, stop looking, there's nothing there. It's just pregnancy hormones. Like, that's what I just kept telling myself. It's pregnancy hormones, sister. You've never had a boy before, and so there's extra added on emotions and hormones that you're dealing with. That's all this is. Like, hang it up. Like, I was literally telling myself, stop. Like, stop. You're being crazy. I was telling myself I was being crazy. So anyways, they're gone. His phone's there. Well, I take it upon myself to look through his phone. Once again, clean, crystal clean. And I was just like, why? Like, and I even prayed in our condo on the beach in Gulf Shores, Alabama. I prayed that day and I said, Lord, why? Why will you not take these feelings, this gut feeling, these dreams? Why will you not take these away? And keep in mind, we were very, very, very involved in church at the time. At this specific time, I was help leading worship at the church that we were in. And also me and Jackal, as a married couple, were the youth leaders of the church in which we were in. So keep that in mind during all this. We were very involved in church. Not only that, we held leadership positions in our church. I was raised in church from the time that I was 13 years old. Probably even younger than that. Jackal, on the other hand, was polar opposite. He was not raised in church. But we had this commitment for a very long time of doing the youth, me doing the worship, and we loved it. We were thriving, so I thought. So I was angry with the Lord. Like, why do you continue to allow me to have these feelings, these dreams, if something is not wrong? So I put his phone back down. I'm getting me and my daughter ready to go down to the beach because, like I said, that's my happy place. That's where I want to be. And something else just told me, like, look again. And I'm like, I've looked every place that I know to look. Like, there's nothing on that phone. So, but I walk up there, get it again, and where I swore that I had looked once before, and I could not, I don't know. I'm not going to put some, oh my gosh, it wasn't there, and then it was there. I'm not going to say that. But I went to another part of his search history on his phone, and in that moment, at 8 months pregnant, well, really 8.5 months pregnant, I knew in that moment that my husband was cheating on me. His search history was nothing but websites in which he shouldn't have been looking at, and looking up hotel rooms close to his work. And I immediately shut down. I took my phone and was taking pictures, like scrolling, taking pictures of all of the search history. And in that moment, I had never felt as hopeless and devastated in my entire life. Like, in that moment, it's like where all of these fears and anxieties that I had came to life, and they were living, they were true, and I knew that they were true. So, like I said, I took my phone, was taking pictures of every single little thing that I could. Also, in the same time, like, praying to the good Lord, like, what do I do next? Like, I'm literally I am merely weeks away from giving birth to our second child. Like, what in the world am I supposed to do? So, stay tuned for with my family, my parents, Jackal, my one child was almost about to have my second child. I was nearly 8.5 months pregnant with our son, and how I finally had proof that my husband was cheating on me. Devastation does not even begin to cover the feelings that I was feeling in that moment. And I've never been in that position before. So I didn't want to ruin the last day and a half of this beach trip that was for our daughter, to, you know, shower her in all the love and attention, because she was about to have a little brother that would also require all of that. I didn't want to ruin that. But then again, I'm walking in complete devastation. Every fear and anxiety that I'd had, just weeks up to this, was real. Like they were real, they were valid, and I had a reason to have them. So I just try to keep it on land. Of course, I was a basket case, but at the time, I just told my parents that it was pregnancy hormones, and that I was being crazy. Because there, for the past couple of weeks leading up to this, I thought that that's what it was, you know? So they were just like, okay, cool. Like, you know, this is a very sentimental thing. Like, you have every reason to be emotional, yada, yada, yada. But when Jackal and my dad got back, Jackal could, of course, tell that something was wrong. And me and my mom and my daughter had never even made it down to the beach, because I told my mom, like, sorry, I was huge. It was almost September. It was the end of August, so it was hot. I was swollen, and I was like, I'm just not feeling it, you know, which I was, because that's my favorite place. Whatever. I digress. So we were still in the condo when my dad and Jackal got back. Jackal could clearly tell that something was wrong, because my eyes were nearly swollen shut because I'd been crying hysterically. Luckily, my daughter was with my mom, and they were, you know, doing happy things. You know, my daughter wasn't just like right up under me seeing her mother, you know, crumble. And I'm so thankful for that. But he was like, you know, what's wrong? And so I proceeded to tell him to look at his phone, and I told him exactly where to go. And of course, he was being all nonchalant, like, what's up? What's wrong? Why are you crying? And so he was acting like, you know, what are you talking about? Like, there's nothing there. So I got his phone and went exactly to the place that I went, and I showed him his phone. I was like, so would you like to explain this? And he immediately started giving excuses, like, oh, well, so-and-so used my phone at work. Okay, keep in mind, let me back up a little bit. At this point in time, Jackal was working at a body shop. He was the painter. He painted the wrecked and fixed vehicles that come into the body shop. He had been doing that for over 10 years at this point. Like, he literally did that in trade school, worked his way up with the same people. Him and his brother worked in the same body shop. Like, he had been with these people for years. Okay, years. And so they are all super close, but I'm still not dumb enough to believe that one of the guys in his shop needed to use his phone and used it for that. Then he told me that his phone got hacked. And in that moment, I was like, you are capable of lying. And you also think that I'm dumb enough to believe said lies. So in that moment, I shut it down. I was like, you know what? We have a day and a half left here. We're going to act like this never happened. I'll keep my feelings to myself. I'll push them down. And we will deal with this when we get home. And he said, okay, cool. So the day and a half at the beach ends. Honestly, I can't even really tell you anything that happened during that time, because my mind was elsewhere, and I hate that. But it was. On the way home, my parents had driven separately, so we were in a vehicle behind them. My daughter wanted to ride with my parents, so it was just me and Jackal in the car. So I was drilling him with questions, and the whole time he was feeding me a line of baloney. Told me, finally confessed on the way home, that the websites in which he was looking at, that was him. His phone wasn't hacked. It wasn't somebody at work, yada, yada, yada. But the hotel lookups were not him at all. So I just let him believe that I believed him. And I was mastering a plan in my mind the entire time. So I was just like, okay, whatever, okay. And because I guess in his mind, those websites weren't as bad as the hotel lookups, which yes and no. Like, I know everybody has different thoughts and feelings on that stuff in your marriage, and that's between you, your spouse, your partner, and whoever else. That's not on me. But for me, it's just as bad. Like, you don't do that. But anywho, so we get home, and keep in mind, I'm huge. I am massive pregnant, and he's already back at work, living his best life, acting like nothing ever happened, just got back home from vacation. And I waddle into one of the hotels that he was looking at. Like, huge pregnant. And I proceeded to ask the lady at the front desk, I was like, hey, is there any way that I can find out if my husband has got a room here? And like the look on her face was like, I guess you could tell me a name. And so I gave her a name. She was like, there wasn't any credit cards used. Well, he always kept cash on him. And I always told him that was sketchy to me, because I've never been one to carry cash. Like, and I know that you probably should, but like he would carry like $100 plus at a time. That's just weird to me. Like, why would you need that? But anywho, so I was like, what about cash? And she's like, I can't tell you that. And it was this young girl, and like I just started bawling, and like her eyes got big, and she like looked down at my belly, and she was like, so like this is like your baby daddy or like your boyfriend? And I was like, no, this is my husband. And so she's like looking around, and she goes, look, I can't do, like, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm